I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe.
The stock market crashed on October 29, 1929, and became known as Black Tuesday. This event signaled the start of the Great Depression in America. One of the most iconic images of the Great Depression is the photo "A Mother of Seven," taken by Dorothea Lange. The photo became widely known for its harsh reality, depicting the famine, poverty, and worries that so many families experienced during this time. Many blamed President Hoover for their troubles, especially for unemployment, and as the decade wore on, many families became homeless and lived in shacks that became known as Hoovervilles. However, some advances were made during the Great Depression, such as the first official supermarket opening in 1930 by Michael Cullen. His store focused on volume, not decor, starting a trend in America's supermarkets. The Empire State Building finally opened in New York in 1931, becoming the world's tallest skyscraper. The Stimson Doctrine became a policy of the U.S. federal government on January 7, 1932, after Japan invaded Manchuria. It addressed Japan and China, noting a non-recognition of international territorial changes that were executed by force. Later that year, veterans in the Bonus Army protested in Washington, D.C., wanting to get their money from the First World War early. In July, officials lost patience and attempted to evict the marchers. The situation turned violent, and the Bonus Army began setting fires. After U.S. troops attacked back, 55 veterans were injured and 135 were arrested. On a brighter note, Amelia Earhart became the first woman to successfully fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean in 1932. Franklin D. Roosevelt served as the U.S. President from 1933 to 1945. He was most known for his fireside chats and his New Deal programs, which focused on relief, recovery, and reform throughout America. Many New Deal programs were created, such as the Civil Works Administration, the Homeowners Loan Corporation, and the Tennessee Valley Authority. As these programs spread throughout the U.S., unemployment slowly began to decrease until the late 1930s. On December 5, 1933, the 21st Amendment was added to the U.S. Constitution, repealing Prohibition. But as the Depression wore on, others were still deeply hurt. The Dust Bowl worsened in 1934, the result of careless farming techniques and a severe drought. The Great Plains became so damaged that many migrated to California and surrounding states, becoming known as Okies. The Neutrality Acts, passed in the mid to late 1930s, followed the fear of involvement and intervention in foreign affairs after the serious cost of being involved in World War I. The acts were passed to ensure that the U.S. would not become entangled in foreign conflicts again, but were later repealed. In August of 1935, the Social Security Act was passed as an attempt to limit the dangers in the modern life of Americans. Roosevelt was the first president to advocate federal assistance of the elderly. Social Security provided benefits for the retired and the unemployed, also giving a lump sum benefit at death. On May 6, 1937, the German passenger airship, the Hindenburg, caught fire and was destroyed. The airship was traveling from Europe to the U.S. and crashed in Lakehurst, New Jersey. Orson Welles' radio broadcast of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells sparked extreme panic by listeners that the events were actually occurring and the world was being taken over by aliens. After Nazi Germany invaded Poland in 1939, the Second World War began, eventually drawing in the U.S. a couple of years later.
The park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut trees, the wishing well.